YNN is an exclusive service of Time Warner Cable. Now, the only 24-hour local news for the Capital Region, only on Time Warner Cable. This is YNN, your midday news now.
Hello, we thank you for watching YNN, Your News Now. I'm Julie Chapman.
And I'm Erin Connolly. Your top stories are coming right up, but first, here's a check of your forecast.
Plenty of sunshine today with pleasant conditions. Highs in the 50s. Tonight, partly cloudy and quiet. Lows in the 20s and 30s. We'll take another look at your weather coming up in less than 10 minutes. Closing arguments are underway in the trial of Anthony Gallo. This story does top your news in a minute. Gallo was charged in a hit-and-run accident that killed 19-year-old Cassandra Boone in Schenectady back in December of 2011. Officials say that Boone was crossing Erie Boulevard when she was hit. Gallo was facing several charges, including aggravated vehicular homicide and leaving the scene of an accident. 39-year-old Pablo Cruz of Schenectady pleads not guilty for his alleged role in a deadly hit-and-run crash that happened last November. Police say Cruz hit a bicyclist with his truck during a police chase and then just kept on driving the truck with the victim attached. The Troy City Council plans to vote on legislation to allow zoning for adult-oriented businesses in the city. The proposed adult district would extend from Canal Avenue to the southern border of the city and from the Hudson River to First Street. And lawmakers in Connecticut follow suit with New York State to pass tough gun laws.
And that was your news in a minute.
Now here's more on today's top story.
Closing arguments are expected to take place today in Anthony Gallo's trial. He's the man charged in a hit-and-run accident that killed a woman in Schenectady. The incident happened in November 2011 when police say Gallo hit 19-year-old Cassandra Boone while she was crossing Erie Boulevard. She was taken to Albany Medical Center where she later died. Gallo is accused of driving without a license and then leaving the scene. He faces several charges, including aggravated vehicular homicide, vehicular manslaughter in the first degree, leaving the scene of an accident, driving while ability impaired by drugs, and aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle. Schenectady police say Gallo's license has been suspended 10 times for failing to pay fines and child support and for a DWAI conviction. The driver accused of a fatal hit-and-run with a cyclist last November was back in Albany County Court this morning. 39-year-old Pablo Cruz was arraigned on additional charges per a grand jury indictment. Our Megan Cruz is following this story, and she joins us now with more. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Erin. Well, as you said, a grand jury convened last month. They looked over the evidence again and decided eventually to tack on additional charges against Cruz. Now, the top charge against him is murder in the second degree. Originally, the most severe charge he was facing was manslaughter. Now, this has to do with a police chase and fatal accident that happened back on November 24th, 2012. Police say they first spotted Cruz around 12:50 that morning. He was speeding through the city of Albany. Officers tried to pull him over, but Cruz fled. Minutes later, they say he struck 45-year-old Paul Murgis Jr. Murgis had been riding his bike on Manning Boulevard near Washington Avenue. Murgis was thrown into the air and became attached onto Cruz's truck, which Cruz continued to drive through the city and into Schenectady County before police were able to stop him. Police believe he was drunk at the time this all happened. Now, in addition to the murder charge, Cruz was also arraigned on 12 other counts. That includes criminally negligent homicide, DWI, and reckless driving. Cruz pleaded not guilty to each one.
I think there are still a lot of questions about exactly what did happen, and that remains to be seen. And I think it needs to be said more fully on another day.
Now, members of the Murgis family were present at today's arraignment. They said they didn't have anything to say at the moment. Neither did Assistant District Attorney Mary Tanner Richter. As for Cruz, he's been sent back to county jail. His next court appearance is May 20th. That's for motions. If he's convicted of second-degree murder, he could face up to 25 years to life in prison. Back to you, Erin.
Now, Megan, obviously the fact that this happened across 2 counties, I imagine a lot of people must have seen this entire incident.
That's absolutely right. I mean, a couple of people even called the news station saying they saw some of this police chase happen. But also in the courthouse today during the arraignment, the assistant district attorney said that they had a number of pieces of evidence, including videos from traffic cameras here in Albany and also in Schenectady.
I bet there's certainly a lot of evidence. That's our Megan Cruz reporting for us. Megan, thanks.
The man convicted of attempted murder in Troy will find out today how long he'll be in prison. 22-year-old Shatik Lanier was originally charged with assault and criminal use of a firearm after a 17-year-old was shot a number of times in the leg on 10th Street last May. The charges were later upgraded to attempted murder by a grand jury. He was convicted earlier this year. Rensselaer County District Attorney Richard McNally says Lanier is facing 25 years in prison when he's sentenced.
The Troy City Council is expected to vote tonight on legislation on zoning for adult-oriented businesses in the city. We're told the proposed adult district would extend from Canal Avenue to the southern border of the city and from the Hudson River to First Street. A committee approved the zoning for the businesses last month. Tonight's council meeting takes place at 7 o'clock at City Hall. 34 administrative workers at Price Chopper are out of a job. The company says it's part of larger restructuring to eliminate 80 positions. The grocer says 46 open positions were eliminated through attrition. Price Chopper cites health care, fuel, and other rising costs for the cuts. The company employs 22,000 people, 8,500 of those in the capital region.
About 200 employees from the New York State Thruway Authority are without jobs today after a deal could not be reached to save their positions. The layoffs were announced earlier this year by the Cuomo administration. Our Matt Hunter has more on the cuts.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, you know, working families, middle-class families, and tomorrow many of them are out of a job.
When the New York State Thruway Authority announced in January that it would lay off more than 200 of its workers to help cut $20 million from its budget, the news caught Teamsters Local 72 Vice President Frank Tracy off guard.
It's no secret we're in the midst of a negotiation, and you know, basically we met once, and the next thing we know, the layoffs are being announced.
The Teamsters represent roughly 75% of the affected workers, with PEF and CSEA representing the rest. Their last union contracts expired at the end of June. Tracy believes with concessions, a deal could have been reached before Wednesday's 5 p.m. deadline passed.
I can't get into the nitty-gritty about that, but yes, we have offered some, I think, very pertinent suggestions.
According to Tracy, one of the key hang-ups has been health insurance contributions. A spokesperson from the Thruway Authority declined a request for an interview, but says the agency continued to negotiate in good faith.
As far as, you know, being handed something, basically shoved down your throat and say, take it or leave it, to me, that's not good faith.
The Thruway Authority, which employs 3,000 people across the state, unsuccessfully attempted to raise tolls for truckers by 45% last year before announcing the layoffs. With the deadline now passed, time has run out to save those jobs.
They want to run their business the way they want to run it, and so here we are.
Thruway Authority Public Affairs Director Dan Weiler would not specify where the layoffs will take place, only saying they'll be spread across the state. Those layoffs go into effect first thing Thursday morning. In Albany, Matt Hunter, YNN.
Connecticut joins New York in having some of the toughest gun laws in the nation. Lawmakers working through the night just to pass those bills. We'll have more about the marathon sessions coming up. Plus, tensions heighten as new threats come out of North Korea. We'll have the latest details on what U.S. defense officials say they're doing to prevent the unstable nation from going over the edge. Stay with YNN. We'll be right back.
Sky Tracker Doppler Radar is sponsored by Leah Collision Center, where we do it all, including our own car rental department. Check out leahcars.com for more information. Now, your weather on the 9s from YNN.
Thank you for joining us for another Weather on the 9s update. I'm YNN meteorologist Vanessa Richards. A lot of sunshine certainly seems to make everything a little bit better, especially after a winter kick that we've had earlier this week. We're noticing now not only the sun, but the temperatures to go along with it. We're seeing those highs climbing into the 50s for today. We need to enjoy it because there's a lot of unsettled weather all around us. In fact, the vast majority of the country under at least some clouds, showers, and even some snow. But I want you to focus on this little sliver of unsettled activity coming in along a cold front. This is your weather as we work into Friday, and I actually think a lot of the showers that you can see here are not even going to be around for us tomorrow. So we're certainly looking at a little bit of a changeable situation, but nothing that looks too disruptive to our Friday. So hour by hour throughout the rest of today, same old sunshine, a little bit breezy, but highs in the 50s, so it's cool. Light jacket will do you all right, but certainly don't wear the short sleeves. I think you'd find that's probably a little too chilly, even though that's what we want to do, kind of getting into that spring feeling. Overnight, turning partly cloudy. Notice here, still dry. Nice night, lows down into the 30s. That's pretty seasonable. Starting off our Friday dry with some sunshine. Will increase the clouds as a cold front works in. Maybe the odd little flurry or sprinkle. Most of us dry. Temperatures take a dip about 5 degrees or so. And then we're back to sun as we start off the weekend. So plenty of sun rather, breezy. And you notice those highs closer to the low 50s and 30s for tonight.
Now, news from beyond the Capital Region.
New developments overseas as tensions between the United States and North Korea heighten. According to South Korea's defense minister, North Korea has moved a missile to its east coast. Officials say the missile is not capable of hitting the United States, but is considered to have considerable range. The defense minister said he didn't know that North Korean officials moved the missile and said it could be for testing. U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel says North Korea's threats have to be taken seriously.
Some of the actions they've taken over the last few weeks present a real and clear danger and threat to the interests, certainly, of our allies.
Kim Jong-un, the new leader, is trying to gain control and make clear to his own people that he's in charge, especially the military. He also is somebody that I think is playing this kind of provocative game.
Experts say North Korea has not demonstrated that it has missiles capable of accurate long range, but despite that, many still say the U.S. should be ready to respond if needed. Secretary of State John Kerry has already said the United States will not accept North Korea as a nuclear state.
It has been 3 weeks since Kurt Myers went on that deadly shooting spree in Herkimer County, which did leave 4 people dead and 2 others hurt. Well, now one of Myers' victims is out of the hospital and sharing his story. Barber John Seymour says that he feels just very grateful he's even alive after what happened back on March 13th. He was finishing Harry Montgomery's haircut when Myers walked into his shop and just started shooting. Seymour says that he was shot once in the wrist and then again in the back as he fell next to the cash register, and then Harry Montgomery was shot and fell on top of him. Montgomery died.
I remember everything. I just laid there, said the Lord's Prayer, hoping that he didn't see anybody move because he might shoot us again. So I kind of played possum. I stopped breathing and just let, and then he left. And that was about it.
Seymour says he has greater appreciation now for his friends and his faith, and he hopes people just continue to pray and support for Dan Haslauer, the other survivor, as he continues to recover.
Lawmakers in Connecticut passed some of the strongest gun safety laws in the country overnight. With the memory of the Sandy Hook tragedy still on their minds, the bill overwhelmingly passed in both the Senate and the House. Legislators voted to expand the ban on assault weapons and limit the sale of large ammunition magazines to 10 rounds. Gun owners will now be required to register their weapons and ammunition. Connecticut Governor Dan Malloy plans to sign the bill later today. New York was the first state to pass gun control laws following the Newtown shooting. Governor Cuomo signed the New York SAFE Act back in January, which gave the state some of the toughest gun control laws in the country. The law included a tighter ban on assault weapons and restrictions on the sale of guns and certain types of ammunition. The measure also updates the state's assault weapons ban of 1994 and limits high-capacity magazines from 10 bullets to 7. The Malcolm Smith scandal has given a boost to the campaign finance reform effort. Many say the case shows the importance of getting money out of politics. Capital Tonight's Nick Reisman has more on this as Governor Cuomo weighs in on the issue.
In the wake of the latest in one of the most sweeping corruption scandals to hit Albany in recent years, advocates for overhauling the state's campaign finance laws are renewing their efforts to change the system.
This is not the sign of a healthy democracy. We really need to take comprehensive steps to make sure that this does not continue going forward, and comprehensive campaign finance reform is the place we need to start this session.
The Good Government Group's multi-city push for a system of publicly financed campaigns, lower contribution limits, and increased transparency was planned even before Senator Malcolm Smith and 5 others were arrested on federal bribery charges. And while his arrests have brought a new layer to that discussion, advocates admit that even if that system was in place, it's possible it would not have prevented the alleged scheme for Smith to get onto the ballot for New York City mayor through bribery. After all, New York City already has a public donor system in place.
There's nothing we can do to stop the fact there's going to be corruption one way or another, and money's going to find its way into politics. But what public financing campaigns will do will change the fundamental culture of Albany from a pay-to-play culture to a culture where small donors have a voice, everyday New Yorkers have a voice, and people run for office trying to represent their constituents.
Governor Andrew Cuomo backs a campaign finance overhaul along with a public funding provision, but he acknowledged on Wednesday in Oswego that it's difficult to legislate morality.
Yes, people can still do venial, corrupt, unethical, or illegal things, and when that happens, you have to be as aggressive as possible in punishing it.
Now, Cuomo and lawmakers in 2011 did agree to a new ethics overhaul law that tightened outside income disclosure rules and created yet another ethics watchdog group. But since then, several other lawmakers have been accused of ethical wrongdoing and pleaded guilty to corruption charges.
We're doing everything that we can do. If there's anything more that we can do, we will do that.
In Albany, Nick Reisman, YNN.
For more information, log on to YNN.com.
The Siena Saints men's basketball team is hoping that their new head coach will turn around their program after 3 straight losing seasons. Jimmy Patsos was introduced yesterday as the new coach for the Saints. Patsos went 145 and 135 during his tenure at Loyola. Before that, he served as an assistant coach under Gary Williams at Maryland, where they won an NCAA championship back in 2002. Patsos says he's always envied the coaching job at Siena.
This is a great job. It's a great place. Albany's a great feel. The school's a great feel. And it starts at the top with Father Kevin and obviously with John hiring me. I'm grateful. I'm lucky. I had a couple people say to me, Siena's lucky to get you. It's clearly the other way. I am lucky to be here at Siena.
Patsos replaces Mitch Monegaro at the helm after 3 seasons on the job.
Now, your weather on the 9s from YNN.
Thank you for joining us again on this Thursday. I'm YNN meteorologist Vanessa Richards. On top of all of the cold temperatures that we've had, we are finally swinging in the right direction, feeling much more spring-like, back up into the 50s. But keep in mind, the 50s is a nice, comfortable range for this time of year, but with a little bit of a breeze, which I think we will have today out of the southwest. Maybe about 10 to 20 miles per hour. It's going to feel cool, so you still want to have at least that lighter jacket. I can say confidently, I think you can put away the winter gear, especially for this 7-day forecast, and certainly for today. You don't need all those extra layers, but you want to be prepared for at least a little bit of a chill to the air when you consider the wind. One thing that certainly helps, though, all of this sunshine, boy, beautiful sky conditions. It's nice when you don't even have a cloud in the sky, just crystal clear blue. Picture perfect, and enjoy it, because I do think we have clouds on the way. A lot of clouds across a good portion of the country. You can see some bigger systems, especially across the south. And then right here, just a little sliver of just barely noticeable showers and a few flurries. This is all that's making a run at us for the next couple of days. So I think what we'll notice here, this cold front arrives for tomorrow, bringing a few clouds and maybe just a very isolated spotty flurry or sprinkle. And that's it. We enter the weekend back with all of this sunshine and nice temperatures. Let's get you through the rest of today, where we have been on autopilot in the Weather Center. And for folks that want to get out and about, this is the weather that you've been waiting for, this very spring-like calm weather. And that's certainly what's taking place. Again, a little breezy, but nothing that we can't manage. Certainly after the cold days we've had, a little cool air isn't the worst thing in the world. Now tonight, more clouds work in. I talked about that cold front slowly sneaking in. We turn partly cloudy, pretty quiet. Lows not terribly cold, pretty seasonable in the 30s. Then for tomorrow, we'll have more clouds than today, obviously, because we don't have any. And there's a slight risk for maybe a spotty flurry or sprinkle. the vast majority of the viewing area dry for tomorrow. Temperatures may take a little hit because the winds will start to turn more northwest behind the cold front, but not a big push of cold air, maybe dropping 5-6 degrees. That's about it. And then Saturday back to the sun and looking very nice. So today's seasonable and spring-like, and the sun is gorgeous. A few more clouds for tonight. Your 7-day forecast showing that 50s stay with us, and then just to push it up a notch, we're going to go right into the 60s, looking very nice next week.
Well, it's being called the premier black tie event in the area, the Gala of Hope to raise money for the American Cancer Society. This year's event is May 11th in Saratoga Springs. Some 500 area professionals are expected to attend. Money raised goes toward ACS, including the Hope Club in Latham.
And it is a community that offers support to anybody that's been touched by cancer in their lives. Whether you're a cancer survivor, if you're going through your battle, or your family has been touched and dealing with somebody who is going through the struggle.
Organizers say tickets are going fast. Go to our website, YNN.com, for more information.
I'm Marcy Fraser. Are you looking to drive up the intensity in your workout a bit? Coming up next in today's Tone Up, let's try a pause set to really get you definition. Stay with us.
This is YNN. Tone Up.
Marcy Fraser, if you're looking to bump up the intensity in your workout, something called a pause set or a drop set can help you. It's pretty basic, but it goes fast. They often don't ask you to do any free weights. They usually ask you to use a machine so you can set back up and set back down rather quickly. We're going to do behind the neck pull downs for your back to start. Women like this. If you want that nice, sexy, muscular back, it's great. Guys, higher reps, wider, thicker back. Both ideas can be met with a lat pull down. You sit down, tuck your knees in. Now, lat set is, you think about how many repetitions that you normally do with your average weight. Say 12 reps. Okay, 12 reps. Bring it down and then drop the weight or pause it. Heart rate goes down, do it again. But this time, instead of 12, you add on 3 more repetitions. So you zip it to the 12, drop the weight, pause it, about 10 seconds rest, you do it again. We do that 4 times for a quadruple superset. Pause set basically is in between the sets. All you do is bring it down, pause, wait, crank it up 3 to 6 more reps. And what it does is it really burns out that muscle. It rips into muscle fibers that you can't normally rip with just standard weight. It really goes a little bit deeper, can make a really big difference in your workout. If you want that bigger back, you slam on more weight, do less repetitions, but still continue with the pause set. That'll also kick up your heart rate and you might burn a little fat. I'm Marcy Fraser, and that's today's Tone Up.
Right now, we do need to take a quick break, but stay with us. More local news is coming right up. I'm Julie Chapman.
And I'm Erin Connolly. You're watching YNN, Your News Now. We'll be right back.